All right, everybody. I think we're gonna start the meeting. We'll let Crystal get situated. To, today is Thursday, June 12th. It is 3:33 p.m. The Meridian Arts Commission's mission is to develop, advance, and nurture all facets of the arts to enhance the quality of life for Meridian residents and its visitors. All right, I'm gonna do roll call. Lizzie Taylor. All right, Bridget King.
Here.
Sean Mascolo is not here yet. Breckenbird, I'm here. Crystal Paulson. Patrick O'Leary.
Here.
Bobby Ketan.
Here.
Sayun Song is not here. And Jay Smith.
Here.
Perfect. Thank you so much for coming. We will start off with the adoption of the agenda. Do we have a motion to adopt? Do I need to amend anything officially? I don't think so. Okay. Do we have a motion to adopt the agenda?
Madam Chair, I so move.
Thank you, Lizzie Taylor. Do we have a second?
I second.
Crystal Paulson seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you. Now we'll move on to the approval of the minutes from our last meeting, May 8th, 2025. Do we have a motion to approve those?
Madam Chair, I so move.
All right, Lizzie Taylor moves. Do we have a second?
I second.
Crystal Paulson seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, any opposed? Great. We have a very special presentation to start us off. We're joined by tap dancer and artist Andrew Nemmer, and he's going to give us an amazing presentation. We're so excited. Thank you. Welcome.
Hi, Madam Chair, fellow commissioners, thank you for having me. Can you hear me okay? This is all right? All right. So I've been asked to come and talk to you about an upcoming project. The project is called Dark Night. It's been 10 years in development and happens to be happening on August 8th in the North End at Trica. Before I share the project with you, I want to clear up a question that I get every time I talk about me and my craft here in the Valley, and that is, what are you doing in Idaho? And so I just want to clear that up, and then I'll share some details about the project with you. My landing in Boise is a function of having visited in 2014 and falling in love with the people here. I was 26 years in New York. I was a freelancer. I was on the road for about 3/4 of the year. And one of those visits, or one of those trips, was to an art and faith conference at the Boise Vineyard. I came and I was like, this place exists. There's a clean river. The people have no pretense. I didn't know that a place like that could exist. And so when in 2019 I hit burnout, there was one place that I thought I should come to try and reset, and that was Boise. It just so happened that I bought a ticket to come to Boise to start my reset in March of 2020. And my friend on the phone, when I said, hey, if this week turns out to be a little longer, is it okay that I still come? Said yes. I don't think they realized that I would be here for a year in their upper room. So I had a very generous friend. And over the course of that year, I decided that I would stay. I wouldn't be going back to New York. I wouldn't be going back to Vancouver, BC, which is where I'd been working full-time as an arts administrator. And I would plan to move my parents out. They were living in New Jersey. As we were doing that, I started looking for places to live. And I was living in Boise, right off of Overland and right off of Overland, but very close to the Meridian border. And I started looking for places, and you all know that the real estate market is insane here. So we landed, when I tell you we landed a rental of a full house well within our means as a freelance tap dancer, it was a minor miracle that we found a place that would fit my parents, me, and all the history of stuff that we were bringing from New Jersey. That was in 2021. My dad passed away unexpectedly in 2023. Before he passed away, we had a series of conversations about what my work moving forward would look like. I've been thinking about my work in a very different way. Tap dance, not just as entertainment in the mode of a Fred Astaire or Gene Kelly or even a Gregory Hines, who was my mentor, but dancing as a way to engage with how we become who we want to become as individuals and as a community. And so, in light of my dad's passing, the thing that I would have been doing with him, I started doing in dedication to him. And we established a not-for-profit called the Nimmer Institute for Spiritual Formation and Creativity. And Dark Night is our first envisioning project. It's the first project that we're putting out into the world that attempts to bring to life something that we believe many people, if not everybody, goes through, but is often unseen. And that is the dark night of the soul. That phrase was coined by a monk writing in the 1500s named Saint John of the Cross, but has been used over time, and the definition of it has changed. The one that we're working with for our team is, it's an event that's normally catalyzed by an experience where the things that we use to orient ourselves to the world are stripped away, often without warning and without preparation. In that stripping, the experience is often one of disillusionment, disorientation, and quite a bit of grief. The proposition is that there is something about love that can only be learned by going through a dark night of the soul. And the choice that we have when the catalytic event happens is to endure. So I will be dancing for 12 hours from 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. as a physical embodiment of the choice to endure. We're inviting people to come be with me over the course of the entire evening. They can experience the space as they wish. It's a walking, living space. I don't know if you know Trika in the North End, but it's a wonderful arts preschool that is housed in a very, very old, what used to be a Methodist church. And so we're using natural light. As the sun sets, the space goes dark. In the morning, as the sun rises, we come into the light again. Over the course of the evening, the space will be filled with immersive projections. And those projections will illuminate what we think, in an abstraction, I will be going through over the course of the night. We're also offering for visitors a private place of reflection and guided contemplation. So for anybody who ever has or maybe are in this kind of experience, there's a place where they can process. My team is phenomenal. They are Tony award-winning filmmakers, and the live event is meant to catalyze an ongoing conversation. So live events are ephemeral and they're a pain in the neck because when they happen and they're done forever. And the only thing that's left is the effect that they have on anybody who is able to witness it. So we've built into this project a short film, a photo book, podcast, and a course. And so it's a long tail. We've got at least a year's worth of work after August that will continue to birth content. And I'm here just to share it with you because I think I love tap dancing wherever I possibly can. So I teach at Trika 3 to 5-year-olds. I teach at Eagle Performing Arts Center, the teenagers. We're trying to work out a place for adult beginners. We'll see. But this kind of event, I think, is really important. Otherwise, I won't be doing it, frankly. So I think that's it. And I do better in conversation than yapping. So I'd like to, if you guys have any questions or thoughts or wondering, please.
Did you say what date that is?
August 8th. We start at 7 p.m. We have entry times every half hour. Tickets are free for the event. So we've front-loaded the funding so that everything that we make, except for the photo book, can be offered for free.
Um, Hey, Adam, as a former fellow New Yorker,
Hey,
welcome.
thank you.
Um, so this is going from 7 PM to 7 AM?
That's correct, yeah.
Okay. And is it broken down into segments, styles of tap? Is it, or is it just all of them
Yeah,
mixed
great
together?
question. So I'm an improviser at heart. So none of the dancing is going to be preset in terms of the content that I produce. What we've developed with my director and filmmaker is kind of an arc, like a narrative arc, but it's a chapter books. So we have 3 chapters: entering the night, enduring the night, and exiting the night. And within those 3 chapters, we have beats that I will be aiming to hit in the space. For example, I'll be starting kind of right in the center of Trica, which is the largest space possible. But as the sun sets and over the first couple hours of the event, I will be very, very slowly moving to the western wall of the space, which is where the sun will go down. And there's a big window right there. So by the time sunset arrives, where I will be in the space will be at that window, watching the sun goes down and interacting with the fact that I can't do anything about the night coming. And the night proceeds in that fashion. So we've articulated for the entire team, projectionist, the filmmakers who are going to be there, my director, the crew, and me, little vignettes over the course of the night that try to illuminate some of the things that we think are experienced from my experience and the experience of the members of the team through the dark night. There's a set of mirrors in Trica, so there will be the confronting yourself moment in the night. There's an amazing set of plants in Trica, so there will be the kind of overwhelmed by the jungle, the kind of just the enwrapped in foliage moment. There's a huge long pew, so there will be the moment of exhaustion. And there will be a moment where I enter, I'm giving all of it away. There will be the moment where I enter the private area of reflection and interact with what I see people have contributed in a way that others can see. So that's how we're navigating it.
So just out of curiosity, so if you're doing a marathon, you practice, right?
Mhm.
So this is like your marathon. How are you preparing for it?
Thank you for that question. I'm preparing the same way that I would prepare for any other show. I'm not doing any special preparation in terms of endurance training on account of the fact that the initial idea for this was simply me in an open place just going. And that's still my core intent, to not stop dancing for 12 hours, even though I'm moving around the space and I might be doing some other things. And because the dark night is not something that you get preparation time for, I think it's disingenuous that I go and I train and then I present myself going, you can get through this, look. And that's not the actual reality of the event, you know, in this project or in someone's life.
Where do you see this in, I mean, this is one very, very long and exhausting project, without doubt. In where from here or where from there, once it's done, what's the long term?
Yeah, the long term is the the media that we can cultivate from the live event that can then have a life. So shorthand, we have a short film that we'll submit to film festivals. Then we'll find a home for that short film online that people can access. We have a photo book that's kind of like a gallery photo book. So we'll have some words alongside photos from the live event that people can purchase and then take home. So there'll be a physical artifact from the event. A limited series podcast. So as I'm going through my preparation, what I am doing actually is reading St. John of the Cross's Dark Night of the Soul again. And I'm in conversation with a local friend who's also going through the book, and we're recording those conversations, trying to parse out if, a monk's writing from the 1500s can be applicable today. And if it is, what's the language around it? Because the language has changed. And then we have a course so we're trying to build kind of a stepwise invitation for people who are inspired by the idea or curious about it to go deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. A 20-minute short film is not going to get you on the inside of the experience. A photo book might, a little bit more, you have words and pictures. A course definitely will, and the podcast might fit in between the two. So that's the idea, is to really build a place where the conversation around this experience can be a home for people and invite people into that on an ongoing basis. I have no idea if I would want to do a 12-hour dance again, but I am open to it. Yeah, I think my caveat to that is I would like it to be in a place where it would be meaningful for the people there. And something like this, I see as a way of interrupting habitual patterns. So if a crazy person comes into town and says, we're going to tap dance for 12 hours, people will adjust something in their life, likely, to come and be a part of that event. And if that adjustment is strong enough, they don't just drop back into their normal pattern of life after it. And in the best of cases, that can open up a window for a change for good in an individual life or in a community.
I think, first of all, I think what you're doing is amazing. I think that the
you.
way that you're interpreting the process of loss and grief and rebirth is through dance is awesome, and Trike is a great place for it. Are you going to be premiering the film once it's done anywhere locally, perhaps at IFS or somewhere
I
like
would
that?
love to.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like 6 months out on our timeline. So August is the priority right now. But yeah, so I'm here now. And when I landed here, one of the things that I told my parents is I do not want to do any work here. Like, I don't want this to be my work home. And then I realized that if that was the case, I'd be traveling all the time. And I'd rather be here and have this be my work home than be traveling. So part of my journey in this project is really, really fleshing out what every media ecosystem is. What's the live arts like? What's the film arts like? What are the visual arts like in the Valley? And this project has something almost in every side of it, which forces me to come out and really see what's what. So the short answer is yes. Long answer is I don't know the people there yet. So yeah, thank you for that.
All right. Does anybody else have any questions for Andrew? Thank you so much for coming here and giving us your time and telling us about this amazing project. Genuinely, I'm so excited about it, and I think we'll all try to make it.
Awesome.
So
Well, thank you.
thanks.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, appreciate you.
Yep.
Madam Chair and Commissioners, one final question for Andrew that I do actually know the answer to, but I want you to maybe mention it. Are there any other performances that you have coming up that people might also be able to see you at?
Oh, yeah. Thank you for that. June 19th, I'll be at Idaho Refugee Day, which is, I think, at the West Bench Market now. Is that a new place? June 29th, I'll be I'm the entertainment at the Searles Place Gala. And then I think between now and August, those are the two. Unless, do you know something that I don't?
And I also will just mention, hopefully you remember at the art party last year that we had Andrew performance, and I'm working with him again for the art party this year.
Oh, yeah. And something just to offer, you'll see it on the website, but the project has a set of local partners. So we're partnering with Searles Place, Global Lounge. What are the other? There are five of them. The Inn at 500 is our hotel sponsor. And there are two others that I'm blanking on. But we're trying to work it so that this is part and parcel of the arts scene that's already happening, not me bringing a team from New York or Portland and plopping down here and saying, look at this thing that's really fancy. So that's part of what I'm trying to build. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Oh yeah, I see the partners here. Yeah, thanks, Cassandra. Great. Thank you so much, Andrew. Okay. We will, it's hard to follow that, but we'll move on to,
Madam
Um,
Chair,
yeah.
question in the audience.
Oh, excuse me. Oh, okay. Yeah. You know what? We don't have a lot of.
I actually, this might be a good question. We don't typically have
Yeah.
this come up. Emily, could you, we have someone in the audience who wants to bring something up. When would be the appropriate time to do that in the agenda? We haven't done that really before.
Madam Chair, I couldn't hear the individual. Is it regarding this presentation? Can you hear me?
Madam Chair, Commissioners, Emily, the, sorry, our audience member would like to come back at another date, which would be better on the agenda. So I'll discuss with her.
Okay, yeah. Thanks for coming. We clearly don't get a lot of members of the public at our meetings. So thank you. And sorry, we weren't sure what to do about you. But yeah, you're welcome to stay and observe the rest. Oh, yeah. So moving on, we're going to discuss the 2025 Community Art Party, which will be on Saturday, September 13th, and Art Week, which will be that week, the 13th through the 19th. I think most everyone here is familiar with Art Week and what we do and how it works. I think probably Sayun is probably the only one that hasn't participated in Art Week to some degree or another. I know Jay's new, but he was helping out a ton last year. So, but yeah, so Cassandra's brought up the recap of last year's Art Week. We usually have throughout the week in the past, we've had classes and art talks and workshops that have been really great. We usually have something in the art gallery, and I've talked to Sean. This art week, the exhibition that will be in the gallery is called Large Men with Small Brushes, which so one of the artists will be Sean's husband, Scott, and she's very familiar with the other artists in the group as well. So me and her are going to work on an event that we can do in the art gallery during that week. We're thinking of maybe a potential workshop or demo or artist talk. something like
in
that.
that same lunch period type of frame time. And then also, I think maybe you guys want to ask the guys to speak during the opening. I
Right,
think.
yeah.
There's not too many shy guys in that group. So, you know, and they're all at least 70 years old, I would say.
Great.
They're, yeah.
Well, that should be good then. Yeah, we'll reach out to them. I can't remember if that's is that a 1 month show? 2, that's a 2 month. Okay, so we'll do something, yeah, for the opening in.
I'm pretty sure you could get them to do it.
Yeah, and I think Cassandra maybe can fill this in. Does Idaho Art Gallery want to collaborate on something again?
Madam Chair, Commissioners, they do. I think that Nellie's still kind of working out what she'd like to do, but she did talk about doing something kind of on the tail end of Art Week. Maybe it's Saturday, which we haven't officially, because it starts on Saturday with the community art party and ends on Friday, so it might be the day after, but we would still advertise it definitely as part of Art Week. She's kind of talked about having maybe some like plein air painters or something. So this is one of the great things about Art Week. If other organizations or entities are doing something, we would love to advertise it. So the library, for example, has some ongoing classes and we kind of look at what they have and then advertise it as part of Art Week. Or like the winery down the street here does some live music and things. So we get those on the calendar and include them on the Art Week calendar. We sponsor, do quite a few different classes, and we worked with quite a few of the regular Parks and Recs instructors, like Randy Latimer does like line dance classes. Crystal, who you all know, does some classes, and then belly dance and drum circle. So we're open to other instructors if they'd like to do something for Art Week. They just need to kind of propose it. We have to figure out the space, but it coincides with National Arts and Education Week again, so having quite a few classes is good. The Art Drop has been one of the longer running programs. It was a little bit less pieces, I noticed, than some previous years, which partly might have to do with the community. The biggest event is moved to Kleiner instead of downtown. But the Art Drop, if you're not familiar with it, which I think most of you are, but in case you're not, people make small pieces that could like fit in a Ziploc. And we don't have very many people do like poetry or music samples on CDs, but I'd love to see some of those. But any sort of like art or creative item, they put a little form in there and that's just for people to hide around town and other people to find. I don't think we ever have any trouble with people finding them. I think we probably have more trouble like getting people to make them. So if the Arts Commission would like to do a workshop or something similar to the ornament drop where we made some to then put out during the week, I think that could be helpful. Michelle Brotzman from the Angry Easel did like 24. I know her pieces were pretty cool to find. So the art drop's part of it. The community art party last time we had on the tail end, and this time will be on the front end as the kickoff. So hopefully some of those instructors could also have a booth. We'll encourage them and they could talk about their classes, assuming that they're not full at that point to advertise what they do. We had the mural at the art party, which I'd like to get together with Commissioner Smith to talk about what that will look like this year, because we plan to do that again. And this memo is attached to the agenda, so hopefully you got a chance to read it. This is all from last year. A couple of things that maybe we want to remember. It is a very busy weekend for events. This comes up every time, and I'm not sure about the Indian Creek Festival, but I think some of these other ones are going on. But September is pretty rough in the vet, like everybody's doing something and every weekend, so we're always competing with other events, unfortunately. Chalk art competition went well. The Arts Commission is jurying the different categories. This part of the mural got really messy, so we kind of talked about having like a smaller piece of this that can kind of be for younger kids where they can paint whatever they want. I'd love to see us do this again and have it look like that rather than like that. So that's kind of an overview of what Art Week looks like. And I think we just wanted to open it up for discussion. What, are there any classes in particular you'd like to see or things that we want to do? In terms of events, the first year I was working here, we had an event every night and I don't have the capacity to do events every night. So we're kind of funneled a lot of, we had a kickoff and another piece, and then we had the art party, and a lot of it's kind of all gone, and the chalk art. So it's all kind of gone to the community art party and then the gallery event. So I do kind of want to limit the events unless someone really feels like they have the capacity to 100% manage that. I'd like to funnel event things into those events, but classes or other things are open. And with that, I'll stop talking.
Hi, I don't know if you
think
guys can,
we're gonna
oh,
have
sorry.
much more reception this year because I think locating at Kleiner Park was a genius idea. There's parking, number one, and we had food trucks and all that stuff, everything to keep people alive while they're enjoying the art. And I think it just kind of got started last year, so I think it's going to be more exciting even this year. And I wonder, do we already start inviting people to be musical performances during that week? Did you get the Boise Chordsmen? A
Chordsmen.
cappella
It's
group.
the group that, someone that you knew from last year, the ladies chorus.
Those
group?
are the
No,
ladies.
Yes, they plan on coming back again.
Did you get the Boise Chordsmen?
No,
Boy, are they good. They are really good. We need to ask them if they haven't volunteered. So they're really good. Lots of power. It's fun to listen to them. So, and I wouldn't be surprised if they'd be willing to do some kind of little afterwards class or something, some kind of teaching thing. Boise Chordsmen.
I just want to say hi to Sayun. Looks like she's online now. Sayun,
Hi.
can you hear us? Okay. You're welcome to chime in. We're just talking about Art Week. Do you have any questions? I know you haven't you haven't come to Art Week, have you?
I've been, but not as a part of the Meridian Arts Commission.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah, let me know if you have
So,
any questions.
yeah, I was gonna ask, I was talking to Cassandra about this a little bit, but for the art drop, the Mayor's Youth Advisory Council would love to collab and just like make a bunch of pieces together, like in one of our meetings in order to like put it in an art drop. If you guys, because we love doing art projects and to be able to do like community service in that way and spreading more art, if that would be okay.
That would be fantastic. We were
Perfect,
just
yeah.
talking about how last year we didn't get that many art drop pieces. We'd love that. Yeah.
Okay, sounds good.
And may I ask, since she mentioned that, could we ask Bosco, for example, or TVAA or any of these societies to chip in their small pieces?
That's a
Ask their
great,
membership for some pieces?
yeah, that's a great suggestion, Sean. We actually, me and Cassandra actually discussed that. I think we could send it to either of the newsletters. And I think that would be a great thing to do because I'm an artist too, and I have all kinds of little tiny bits and yeah, they have to be little tiny, but little sketches or things, artists have that, so.
Yeah, be great.
I was just wondering, Cassandra, you said something earlier about the poetry class, and was that growing and it got bigger last year or more attendees?
Commissioner O'Leary, I think it was actually less attendees than the first year. But that's a contact that Commissioner Paulson knows. I don't know if you've been in contact with Dana or if she wants to do it again or has ideas for this year.
I can reach out to her about it. Are we looking for the same location?
Probably.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll talk to her about it.
Yeah, one thing I was just thinking that crossed my mind when you brought that up was if it's, and it may not be, but if it's possible to do a class like that for people interested in learning to write poetry, and then connect it with the art drop so that they're, learning and then creating a poem to put into the art drop, whether that might draw more people or more interest in participating.
Yeah, I think that'd be a great idea. And then it sort of encourages, like Cassandra said, some different forms of art to be included in that art drop. That would be really nice. Yeah, is there any like past classes or workshops that you guys really liked that you think should be included again?
One thing I thought of was last year, I think one of the cutest things, at least for me, was all the young kids that came out and ended up doing chalk in front of the table where we were. And it got me thinking and wondering whether or not, and I don't know whether it's manageable or even doable, but if there was a way to set up a place, so it wasn't right in that path of where the chalk art was happening, but a place that's a chalk art playground, I don't know, for just better description, for kids to go and parents to be able to take them to do what they want to do. And then I don't know how there's a way to then incorporate the best one of those into a, small award for, the young artist who just scratched it out off the top of their head.
Patrick, that's not a bad idea. And I'm kind of wondering if we could work that into, because there was some talk about, there was that nice community mural that got drawn on by all the cute little kids. But that might be a good alternative, maybe to have just like a little, maybe like a roped off portion of sidewalk somewhere where it could just be like the messy chalk and it's not part of the competition, but kids can go doodle there, maybe somewhere near the community mural. That might be a good alternative.
Madam Chair and Commissioners, I think that's a really good idea. And I'd like to talk a little bit about the mural wall, if we could, for a second. One of the things that I found really rewarding was seeing all the kids get messy. And yeah, I know that, it was a bit of to the dismay of the artists and to not see the design that she had created, come to life and be colored in. So I do think that there maybe is, a benefit to having a place that younger kids could just freeform. And I think doing it with the chalk is a great idea. I would love to do it also with the paint, with the murals. I think that's a lot of fun. And so maybe, I guess, my proposition for this year would be instead of 3 live artists, we do the same mural cube to, I guess, mitigate some costs. But instead we do 2 live artists, and then we have the other 2 sides, one for younger kids and one for, I guess, older kids who really want to kind of color within the lines and keep it cohesive. That might be a good way to, I guess, keep it around the same cost and the same, logistically keep it, in the same area. But I didn't know if we wanted to, continue having live mural painting. Is that something that we wanted to do again this year with new artists?
I think so, but I'd pass that back to the commission, and I do like your solution of that, so.
Yeah, I definitely think the live painting was a great thing. I think we should definitely do it. And I think it's a good opportunity for local artists and to just like showcase and also just like community outreach. And anyway, yeah, had we talked about just like letting them start earlier, or what did we talk about in regards to that, the like timing of for the artists? I forget.
I think it was just a matter of when they showed up to get there. So I think maybe having like a set start time would be helpful. Also too, I wanted to, I guess, bring it up. This last year, I just kind of chose the artists that were willing to do it. But if we have a little bit more time to plan it, maybe we could do a call for submissions and vote on the artists that do the live painting, or.
I think what I will say about that is that it is a lot of work for Cassandra to have to do a call for artists. So that would be probably up to her. I think it would be better, probably just, I guess, I'm just going to say my opinion would probably be that it would be better to reach out to specific people.
Yeah.
But that's just what I'm gonna say about that.
Okay. And if anybody has an idea, or I would like to switch it up, and have newer artists or, a couple artists that haven't done it yet to submit. So if there's anybody you guys know that have any interest in doing a live mural painting, reach out and I can reach out to them or vice versa.
One thing I wanted to mention is that if you did have public interaction on a mural, one way to help preserve the original drawing is do more water-based stuff. So like when I've done public stuff with kids, because they're going to make it messy, but if it's more transparent or if you can thin it down a little bit, then you can stick more true to your lines and you don't tend to lose it as much.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that I think that live mural was probably one of the highlights of, because it's that rare thing that people never get to see art being made as it's being done. And I think that's what drew people to it. And then the idea of being able to participate. So whether, one thought that just crossed my mind was, but it probably makes it much more complicated, is that instead of being all in one place, if they were in, if the panels were spread out so that if you had your kids area over here and the adults over there, and then so that build that through the traffic of the park. I don't know if that's probably much more complicated than it needs to be, though.
It's not a bad idea. I think logistically it's a little more complicated. In this one, we had one kind of place for it, and it was a cube basically with all four sides were being painted. There is an option of building movable mural panels. We have built a couple of those for Tree Fort over the years, and they kind of travel around and that sort of thing. That would be probably a little bit more cost, as well, but definitely not impossible.
Can I offer the concept of possibly doing chalk art on black paper, which is taped to a table
Or
for little
just
kids?
Chalkboard paint.
Okay.
Yeah, you could
I
roll one
mean,
of those with just
simplify
chalkboard
it,
paint, and
put
then
it in
they
the
could
same,
go with chalk on it.
yeah, put it in the same neighborhood, in the same area as the cube, and then just let them have at it. Maybe put a person there to
Yeah,
make sure nobody gets killed.
that actually might be a better idea than doing a little kid mural with paint, because there were not a lot, but there were a few parents that were a little dismayed that their kids walked away with paint all over their clothes. So it was, and I was like, well, sorry, we have aprons, but yeah, maybe for the young ones, maybe a chalk mural would be a better idea than actually getting paint with brushes.
In that
There's
case,
some
you
kind of a
could-
table.
In that case, you could paint one of the walls with just chalk paint and then we could reuse it.
Absolutely. You could just roll it with new chalk paint every year.
It's not a horrible idea.
I think
I
it's a
think
great
it's
idea.
pretty good.
Yeah. Luckily I was there to kind of wrangle them. There were a few kids that wanted to go and help the other artists paint on their murals. I think Laurel had to kind of shoo away a few young ones, but she was very gracious about it. And there was a lot of times kids would just like walk over there with their brush, and their parents were like, no, over here. So, but yeah, maybe some signage or some sort of
Are you on the?
hit the button over there. Oh yeah, you have a different microphone.
There we go. Thank you. With the idea, because I think the giant cube is kind of a magnet and a draw for the kids, like, oh, it's this giant picture and I want to be part of this. What about having a miniature cube that doesn't have to be quite as big?
Yeah.
I mean, but logistically, and I don't know cost wise, but that's something that then it doesn't matter if they're going around. all four
Give 'em
sides?
the whole thing.
Just give them
Yeah.
the whole cube, but make it
That might
miniature.
also, work with your ideas, just having a chalk area, and we could have 4 chalkboard sides and they could just go at it and do whatever they want. Um, and then if we wanted to have 3 mural artists and then the older kids mural, on the fourth side, we could. So yeah, that's not a bad option either.
And we have lots of chalk in the stock. So,
Yeah.
All right, well, that was a pretty good discussion, you guys. I'm feeling pretty excited about Art Week. So if there's any more comments, we'll move on to the next thing. But thank you for all your comments. Yeah, so all of you have probably gotten the jury sheet for the initial point gallery jury for 2026. I think we got a lot of applicants. I haven't filled out the sheet yet, but I will. And yeah, but we'll turn it over to Sarah and she's going to talk to us about the process for jurying this year.
Hi. Hello, commissioners. Okay, so I'm gonna walk you through the initial point gallery jury process overview, because I know there's like a few of you that may have not done it before. But yeah, so we sent out those about a week ago, a week and a half ago. And I'm just gonna walk you through the whole process from you guys giving the scores to how we kind of plan the shows for next year. Okay, so in the Google Drive, we sent you all the application materials from all the artists that applied. So in there is their statement, bio, resume. If it's a group, it's usually a mission statement. If it's a single artist, it's usually an artist statement or their bio, the resume. They also submitted representative images. So it's not necessarily the ones that they'll be showing in their show, but just other works that they've done that kind of like represent their body of work. Then they have their image list of the images they submitted, so the medium, the titles, usually the price as well. And then they have their proposal, so what they want to do for the gallery, what the theme is, the types of works they're going to show. So then we also sent you guys this score sheet. And there's different sections, different criteria that you're going to be judging on, and you do it out of those points there. In the notes, we put what they applied for, so how much feet in the gallery that they wanted, if they had any 3D pieces, the amount of pieces they had, and then we had them in the groups and the artists within the groups and then the single artists that applied. So the criteria. The scoring criteria is stated in the call to artist application. So the artists that went on and applied, it says literally in the application what they're going to be scored on. And so that's the adherence to the call to artist, the quality of artwork represented in the images, the quality of proposal and level of professionalism, appropriateness of the subject and concept for City Hall, and the contribution to aesthetic and cultural atmosphere of City Hall. After you guys give them the scores, we're also going to add points for artists that have not shown at IPG. So that's 5 points for artists that have never shown, 2.5 points for artists that haven't shown in recent years, which is like 23 to 25. We're doing that because we really want to expand the amount of artists that get to show in the gallery, hopefully get a different demographic in there. We're asking that you please evaluate fairly, so don't give preferences at all. Really try to remain like, was it? Neutral, yeah. Okay. Notes are very helpful. So there's a note section there for you. If you give a really low score, we would like to know why. If you really liked an artist, we'd like to know why. It just kind of helps us kind of get feedback and know what is really good for the public and stuff like that. Please remember that everything is public record. So if you leave a nasty little comment, it's going to be for everyone to read and see online. So there's that. Okay, so after we get all your scores back, me and Cassandra will compile and average the scores. And based on your guys' scores, we're going to kind of create a proposed 2026 schedule for next year. And we're also going to review that initial draft with Commissioners Byrd and Taylor. And you can go to the next slide because, so what we're going to show you is like a tentative 2026 schedule at the July 10th meeting. And so these slides on there are kind of from last year and like what the shows would look like next year. So we're going to have the artists in there, titles and dates. Sometimes we may not have like a title and we'll ask you guys for input on that. But we usually have like the themes picked out, kind of tentative where we think it would be best in the year. And just kind of ask for your guys' feedback on that and anything else we need finalized. Thank you. Thank you so much for taking time to go through all these applications. It's a lot. And we ask that you don't like just kind of breeze through it and do it quickly, but like these people took the time to submit and really work hard on their art. And so we ask that you, in return, kind of evaluate it and really look at it and take the time to give feedback because it's always helpful. Please turn in your score sheets by Tuesday, June 17th. I gave you 2 weeks. So that's coming up on Tuesday. So start now. Okay? Any questions?
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
I could not find a proposal on a couple of them. Why is that? Am I not, am I doing something wrong?
Probably not. Some of them, I can go back through and try to relabel and make sure, because some people did include their proposal within other documents. So you might have to go in and look. Sometimes it's like with their artist statement, or they just kind of all put it in one thing. I can go through the Google Drive and just retitle everything so that you guys know if it is all in one document. But
Everyone had a proposal?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. I got it.
Yes.
All right.
But yeah, some were just all in one paragraph and they just kind of used it as their bio proposal, like everything. So.
I got mine in already. No.
Oh yeah, Patrick's the only one that got his in. Thank you. I forgot to say that. So.
No, but you mentioned that the note I put on mine, and I was thinking and then raised a question and I didn't go back and look at it after you emailed me, but is the, I don't know what it's called, their statement of how they're going to promote, is that's supposed to be part of it, correct?
That is included in the proposal is how they would market their show or like
Right.
promote it. Yes.
Okay, did I miss what, did you find that in?
You didn't. We looked through there and we didn't see one in. the
Okay,
application,
okay.
So, yeah, we were just like, oh, wondering why, but
Yeah, and then I just wanted to make sure that that was actually
no, yeah,
a part of it or a requirement that they
it is
have to
part of the
include that.
proposal. Yes. Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Anything else?
Madam Chair and Commissioners, Sarah and Cassandra, thank you very, very much. I know that the amount of work that you put into doing this was monumental. I'm kind of a hard nose about a bunch of stuff, but I've earned the right to be a hard nose about a bunch of stuff. First of all, when you are evaluating, it doesn't really matter whether you like the art or not. You are selecting art for a functioning municipal government building. You are not selecting it for your home or to give as a wedding gift. This is serious business here. Okay, we won't go into the no nudity and no political stuff. We all know that. But abstract yourself from liking it or not liking it, because frankly, it doesn't matter. There were a number of pieces of art that I absolutely could not imagine in my home, but I could imagine them here. Not that anybody's child of a lesser God, but so take away the liking versus the not liking. If you haven't done your evaluation, let me give you a little hint. It takes some time. This is not a 20-minute grab and go. All right. You don't have to spend, the next 3 days doing this, but do it with sensitivity and awareness that people have put a lot of work into submitting. Now, the one thing that I did notice this year, at least for the most part, the quality of the submittals was actually pretty good. We didn't have the there were a couple of them, I think, if I remember correctly, but in years past, we've had a framed piece of art thrown on an unmade bed as a submittal. That does not work. My feeling, and this is where I get hard-nosed about it, our requirements are not that difficult. There is a proposal. A proposal doesn't include your life's history. There's an artist statement. We don't care if you liked green beans as a child or not. There are certain guidelines. I give a little bit more leeway to young and or emerging artists, but our requirements are not that difficult, and they either meet them or they don't. So excuse my hard-nosedness, but that's the way I am. So anyway, thank you again to Sarah and Cassandra for doing this. And again, it does take time. So set aside some time and be careful, be prudent, be fair, but be honest. Thank you.
Also throw out there, please be private in your like sharing information with other people. Like, please don't go to like your artist friends and be like, oh my God, like just keep that to yourself. Thank you.
Madam Chair and Commissioners, one other thing that I wanted to note is that I don't know, those of you who were here last year, that we had twice as many submissions as we ever had before, and this year is very comparable to last year. So submissions overall are up, which is a good and bad problem sometimes because it means we are probably going to have to send out like 70% rejection letters again, and that's a good problem to have, but we do have to send out. And so again, with the notes, do write them in a way that is helpful, because some of those people do come back and they're like, well, why? And then if we can look through some of your notes, it's kind of helpful to give some reasons why, or like how to help them improve.
Because people will come back and apply for next year, so.
You know, I did have one other question. If somebody asks for example, the whole gallery, can you all elect to give them half a gallery and give somebody else part of the Okay, good.
And so we very rarely have had, I think in my time here, we've only had one solo show. So if someone applies for the whole gallery and they're like in the top 2 or 3 scorers maybe, and it's somebody that definitely has like a big body of work, then it would make sense. If there's someone that applied for the full show and they're kind of in the middle, we would do a split, yes.
I was wondering too, as I was going through this and with all those artists, is there, and forgive me for my ignorance, is there like a kickoff event that brings all the artists in and like a public discussion of what the season's going to be and their art, and kind of, so they're all at one time? Is that even possible, given the schedule you're on and what that would take to do?
I'm Commissioner O'Leary, I'm not quite sure what you're asking. Is that are you thinking for each individual show to bring them, or what are you?
No, I was thinking more I mean, part of it, more of a kind of a launch or kickoff of the season, but but also maybe a community discussion with the artists who will be showing. And I guess in thinking, it's a way to, another step in marketing and making the public more aware of what's going on and what's happening. And a public gathering for discussion of art and the art of making art. I mean, whatever it would be, but with all the artists who will be exhibiting. But I don't know if that's even possible to get them all together at one time and put together a theme. I mean, not necessarily for what's coming up, but maybe in the future.
Patrick, Madam Chair, Commissioners, and everybody else who might be listening. That is a very laudable idea, but I think it would be sort of like herding cats. To get all of these artists in one place at one time, it would be kind of like doing D-Day all over again. Whereas when we do the kickoff announcement of the 2026 IPG schedule, there could be attached thereto the schedule, like, you know, and I don't know all the computer terms, but you guys know what I'm talking about. And that could go out publicly, but to try to get all of these artists, it just, sorry, but it just strikes me as a non-workable, improbable, insurmountable task.
Yeah. I I don't know. Sounds like a great idea, but artists are the worst, so.
We can barely get them to answer an email, let alone, yeah. So, I mean, it's a nice idea, but you know, and there's an opening reception for every single show. We have, as Lizzie said, a schedule for the whole year, telling everyone when those are. There's media releases, I think.
But
Um,
nevertheless, they make at least 9 or 10 individual phone calls to whoever the leaders are for these groups, and they coach the daylights out of them through every step of the way. It is just magnificent from my point of view. I'm always marvel at your guys' stamina, frankly.
Madam Chair, Commissioners, Commissioner Patrick, it is a good idea. I think this would be just definitely hurting cats, but you would need like an incentive. You would need some reason to get together other than hanging out to meet another artist. And with that, you know, you could put together an agenda and you could put together some sort of event together. I know Stephanie Inman and her friend do these Boise artist meetups monthly, and I've attended a couple. And you know, she sends out a guest list, and you reply whether you're gonna show up or not. But yeah, I think it's a good idea only if it was some sort of incentive, like whether you bring in a special guest, you have a topic in mind and a theme for people to interact and look forward to, or you have food,
Yeah.
beer.
Beer, wine.
But maybe something in the future is like that, but it's a good idea.
All right. Well, thank you so much. Does anybody have any other questions for Sarah about the jurying process? Okay. Thank you so much, Sarah. Okay. Yeah. Everybody I'm talking to myself as well in this. Get your jury sheet filled out. Okay. We will go ahead and turn it over to Lizzie. She's going to talk about the topic at hand, initial point gallery shows.
Thank you, Madam Commissioner. I'm not going to talk anymore. I've done enough talking. Framed was the West Ada School District annual student show. It was very well attended. It was a great show. Love kids' art. Current exhibit is Bosco, Dusty Chaps and Cowboy Hats, Idaho's Ranching and Rodeo Heritage. Understand there was about mid-30s in attendance for the opening reception, which was a little bit disappointing, but life goes on. The next exhibit, which will feature Brecken, Nikita Bukoff, and Reba Robinson Brecken's work is fantastic. I'm not that familiar with Nikita's, and Reba's glass work, I believe it is really absolutely fantastic. That is opening on Tuesday, August 5th, and Commissioner King, will be our host for that event. As usual, any and all commissioners who can attend are certainly welcome to do that. So Bridget, if there's any questions or comments or whatever, but we'll count on you for doing that. Great, thank you very much.
Thank you, Lizzie. Okay, Cassandra is going to talk to us about concerts on Broadway.
Thanks, Madam Chair. And backing up just a little bit on the agenda, you might see there's a note about artists canceled on the one artist. I thought we might have to have a discussion here about what to do. It's not canceled. There's some logistic issues, and I have to give a huge shout out and thanks to our chair for being willing to help store the artist's work so that it can be brought to the gallery in time. So we figured it out. It's fine. The artist is showing, but he's someone that's moved out of the area, and so it was a little challenging to figure out some scheduling stuff. So if you're wondering what that was, never mind. Concerts on Broadway. So concerts on Broadway, we got posters around town. If you happen to see one of the posters, I'm always curious about where they go up. So if you want to send me a quick message saying you saw it at the co-op or wherever they get posted around, because we do spend some marketing. They're not super cheap to get those posters posted around, but those are great. Also, thanks to Sarah for the design on that. They're kind of beautiful posters this year. It's have you seen them?
I
Yes,
have
sir.
seen the poster and it's really good. Yeah,
Yeah.
I have to say. I like the hot pink.
And we have more sponsors this year than we've had in previous years. We've got Las Calaveras, Idaho Central Credit Union, the Meridian Development Corporation, Loose Screw Beer is coming back. Oh, and Investment Resources of America. So we have some sponsors, which is great. I would love if you all could try and attend some of those and help spread the word. That's it.
Great, thank you. Yes, looking forward to concerts on Broadway. Okay, public art updates. Do you have, yeah, you probably have a lot to say about that.
Let's see. Which one is it? Okay, so this is attached to the agenda if you read over it, but I'll just kind of try and give a brief summary on some of these. So master plan is really the big project right now. I think almost all of you could attend our special workshop that will be happening June 26th at 10. So it's going to happen in council chambers, which is actually a little room back around here. So come where you come for the regular meeting, but it's in the room back here. And it'll be a little bit more workshop sort of session. And then we also have the public input booth at the Meridian Fine Arts Festival. And they've actually advertised us today as a sponsor, and they had a really nice post about how we're going to be there with the public outreach booth, getting input about the survey. And we're going to do a little hands-on traffic box, like miniature traffic box project where they'll color on a flat piece and then they can fold it into a box. So it kind of looks like a little miniature traffic box. And then our consultant is going to have these panels where people can like put stickers and sort of talk to us about how, areas that they'd like to see public art and give some input. The survey we're going to launch on the 23rd. So please help with the survey. I got the postcards printed. They look great. Hopefully you all remember when you're signed up for, if you signed up for the Fine Arts Festival booth. And if you look in the memo, you can click there to bring it up as a reminder. So onward and upward with the public art plan. Yeah. Laurel's mural was installed at home court. She spent about 4 days over the course of a couple weeks to install it. And she painted all of them with a few coats of paint, and she did the clear coat. And we put a little tag next to it, similar to the ones that are out at City Hall. And it's been added to the website. It looks great. Traffic boxes, you all approved the artworks at the last meeting, and then council approved it. So the next step, I'm waiting on the vendor to get back with a maintenance report so we can identify any that are really peeling or faded or need to be replaced. We have wrapped most of the traffic boxes in the city. If you ever see one that looks like a really good opportunity, send it to me and let me know, but we are probably going to rewrap ones. The lifespan on these we kind of anticipate 5 to 10 years, and we're definitely getting at the 10-year mark for the ones that were installed 10 years ago. So anticipated to wrap them in the fall. Linder Road Public Art Project is on track. Just got the engineering drawings back recently, and the materials have been ordered. Chateau Park, we added Commissioner Taylor, you live next to the park. Have you seen the sign? Probably not, but if not. So we installed a sign that identifies some of the artwork, and it's really hard to see on here, but it's got some information about pollinators and plants and gives some information on it, which is nice, identifies the artist. Community Center, thank you for responses on the survey that I sent out to talk about which pieces are preferred. Based on that, the entrance piece will probably be the porcelain enamel or the steel cutout application, but that's based on budget because those are quite a bit more than a painted mural. Other prioritized ones will be the lobby wall installation, built-in diorama, lounge history photo wall, art poem display, and the reception area art. Longer-term projects that could be phased in later would be the ceiling mobile, welcome entry sculpture, functional design fixtures, tactile wall, coloring book page. Those could happen later. Nobody put the gym messaging project as a priority on either the staff side or the MAC side, so we'll cut that from the proposed projects. Budget's not final, but at this point, it's looking like it's probably going to need to come from MAPS because they're over budget and trying to cut costs for the building, so. And until we get the public art plan going, any other new projects, while we can propose them, but no active planning on other projects at this time. Any questions?
Okay, I think we're good. Thank you. All of that is very exciting. Okay, you guys, yeah, so everybody who can, please plan on coming to our special MAC Public Art Workshop on June 26th at 10 a.m. And then our next meeting will be July 10th. And do we have a motion to adjourn?
Madam Chair, so moved.
All right, do we have a second?
I second.
Okay, thank you, Crystal. Seconds. All in favor?
I
And any opposed?